Hi everybody. I thought I'd pop in and show you my Maine Concertina Journal. I just returned from my trip. Still kind of recovering, but I wanted to get this completed to the extent that I'm going to complete it so that I can move on to other things. It's really not important to me that this is perfect or a great work or anything like that. It's just a way for me to collect and retain my memories and help me to look back on the trip later. So it's a concertina book. I think I showed you this part if you have been watching the videos for a while. The van was there. It did not get all the way fixed before I left, so the trip was a little bit of a challenge. I didn't have air conditioning at night. It wasn't a problem once I got into Maine and New Hampshire, but getting there was difficult because the afternoons and the nights were hot. There was a heat wave. So it was a little bit tricky, but I managed it. This is a really good example of perfectly imperfect, I guess. I'm not real happy with how that flower came out. This is a bloom from a tulip tree, and I'd never seen one before. We have them all around the house, but they never fall as blooms, and I saw one when I was in Brevard at Davidson River Campground. They were all over the ground, and I decided I wanted to draw one. I was experimenting with materials that I'm not that familiar with and just wanting to capture the essence of it. So it's experimental, and you know, I know what it is. I'm not real happy with it, but it doesn't matter because I know what it is. And it was also experimentation. There was a beautiful wooden bench in the woods along the river in the campground I stayed at there. If you ever get a chance to go to Davidson River Campground in Brevard, it's beautiful. There's a river that runs right through. Beautiful bridge with lots of ironwork. I was captivated by that. My friend that I visited while I was there, I did a quick blind contour drawing of her. And then I moved on. This is Berwick, Maine. There was a campground that I stayed at to rest a little bit once I got there, and it was an old sawmill. So this was the incinerator that they used back in the day when it was a sawmill. And there was a pond there that had lots of lilies on it and lily pads and things like that. This is a different view of the incinerator. So that was kind of an interesting spot. We used to live in Center Ospey, New Hampshire. So when I went to pick up my friend, we picked up some dinner in town there. And this is an old feed mill that is there. There's more building that goes along with it, but this is part of my remembrances of living there. My friend's house, which is just a super cute little cape. We went to Portland, Maine and had lunch, so just little bits and pieces of things like that. Everyone told us to go to Blue Hill, Maine. It's just the most wonderful place. Everyone said, well, we couldn't really find it, but I did buy a water bottle for the dog. Then a big part of the trip for me, let's see, can I do this way? I am sorry about the noise. I think it's going to stop in a moment. Yeah, there it goes. This is the map of Arcadia National Park, which was a big part of what my friend wanted to do there. She had never been there. And see this map, this is an RV map, and they have all these red lines with the circles are low bridges and the X's are the roads that I wasn't supposed to be on. And we, of course, were going down this road, and I don't think we realized. I kept saying to her, are we all right with the map? And she, I don't know what was going on. We weren't communicating. I think we ended up somewhere down here and had to back up like at least a mile against traffic, of course, because it was all one-way traffic. So that's a big part of what I remember, I think, about that park and that experience, and it was fun. We managed it just fine, and it all worked out well, so it's a happy recollection. We spent part of a day in Bar Harbor, and there's, of course, lots of boats bobbing around out there, and it's all about the lobster. There's kind of a park near the water, and this is where we had lunch that particular day, did a little bit of shopping. There's a place in Arcadia called Thunder Hole, and we were there on a very cloudy day. This is a rock formation here, and the water, when the waves come in, rushes into this narrow channel, and it booms just like thunder, and sometimes the water will spray up over it. This is a stairwell that goes down, and it was really quite crowded, so we couldn't really actually go down there, but you could stand on these rocks and get a nice view of it. And it was booming that day. So these are just explorations of the rocks and the ocean. A little bit of scraggly trees. So this was such a big part of this whole trip, was this Maine coastline for me. So I just played around with trying to describe the rocks and letting the water be what I had already put on the paper before I left. And I enjoy that. I really like the textures that I got in there. I think it feels like the ocean to me, and a little bit of rocks, I think, then really help with that. And of course, picking up stickers and remembrances as we went along. The other side, we went to Quoddy Head State Park. This is a lighthouse, and this is the farthest eastmost point in the continental United States. So that was pretty interesting. This friend and I have already been to the southernmost part of the United States as well. And she's been to the northernmost and the easternmost and the westernmost parts. So she's ahead of me on those. I've only been to the two. From there, we went to Cobscook Bay State Park and got a campsite right on the ocean. And Maine, the Maine coast has just all kinds of nooks and crannies. So there was lots of inlets, and that's what this was. It was an inlet. We actually spent a day there, and I was able to just sit and enjoy myself, enjoy the tide as it went in and out, enjoy the shapes of the rocks and the water and the mud flats. This is all mud in through here. Rocks, trees all across the back. So that was a lot of fun. And that particular area is called Down East Maine. So that's a little bookmark of recollection of that. This is the map of the campsites from the campground, and I think there's probably information about the campground there as well. And then on the way there and on the way back, we crossed this bridge, which is the Penobscot Narrows Bridge. There's an observation tower way up in here, and I'm fascinated by bridges. I don't know about you. I think the structure and the shapes and everything really interests me, so I wanted to go up in there. They wouldn't let us take the dog with us, and they wouldn't let us leave him in the air-conditioned van. So we didn't get to go up into the bridge. So fine. We did. Maine is, of course, all about blueberries, and we found a cute little spot to shop, and these were some blueberry dog treats, which Rooster liked a lot. A lot. I just liked what happened on this page so much that I couldn't touch it, so I left it alone. Then we got to Rockland, Maine. My friend has some friends that own a gallery there, so we got to see the gallery and see the town a little bit. They bill it as the art capital of Maine. The Farnsworth Museum is there. I didn't get to go inside there. It was too late in the day. But it's an interesting, cute little town, and their gallery was really lovely. Just found this postcard that was kind of cute about Maine. I also found in a shop these cute little corners, and so I used those. These are a couple of the artists that are represented in that gallery. I just grabbed cards from them. Yeah, feather that I found. I picked up some chocolate. I know the woman that makes this chocolate on Lake Winnipesaukee in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. And Chicorowa Lake is one of my favorite places in New Hampshire, so this kind of popped back to New Hampshire. I'll talk a little bit more about that later because there's photos. So over here, I just put photos. Got a couple of things of flowers and my friend and some of the other things we saw. That's the marker for the easternmost part. A lobster pound, the inside of the van. This was a distillery that we stayed at that had wonderful pizza too. They let us camp there overnight for free, and we had dinner there, so that was fun. Rooster on the rocks. This is a photo of the Thunder Hole and the bay in Bar Harbor, and this is that feed mill in Ossipee, in Center Ossipee, that I drew the photo of. Mount Chicorowa, which is really lovely. They just put up a new information thing with a little stopping area to tell you about the different peaks. There's a lake underneath Machikorowa. We used to stop there all the time with the dog. It was on the way to the vet, and she needed a break by the time we were coming home from there. Another photo of, I think that's the ocean up in northern Maine. This was a little shelter at the campground that we stayed at, and that's me actually working on this book. This was right off of our campsite, so when the tide was in, there was an island, and when the tide went out, you could walk out there, although it was a bit muddy, and explore the island a little bit, so that was kind of cool. Rooster was feeling very photogenic that day. The foggy rocks at Thunder Hole, and people are always stacking rocks in those places. So just some of my favorite photos, not all of them. And then from there, I started, I was on my way home, and for 2 days I drove in between the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains, and this is the Appalachian Mountains, some of the shapes of the mountains as I drove along them. They were dark blue and green, just like the ocean, really. So that's it. That's my recollections of my trip to Maine. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that it was inspirational to you. I hope that you see that sketchbooks and travel journals and those sort of things don't have to be perfect. They just have to be something for you. They can be whatever you want them to be. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, certainly give it a thumbs up. If you would like to be notified when I post new videos, subscribe to my channel. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.